I'm Josiah.
And I'm Adam.
We're with Salata Gun Shop. Today we're going to talk about SB 003 being signed by Governor Polis and a few other bills that are in effect and going to be in effect later this year. Coming up in May, we have the Merchant Category Code, which will require all credit card processors to categorize those locations that sell ammunition and firearms. So for every purchase that you make at our shop, it will be categorized and organized so that the revenue service can actually track where you are spending your money. May 1st is when that will be enacted. We have coming up in July, the permit to carry requirements for the state are changing. We've had some questions from people living in other counties whether or not they can take our course here in Chaffee, and you are eligible to use the course taken with us and apply in your county.
In regards to concealed carry, there's a standardization there for testing and applications.
With Polis signing his assault weapons ban 003 today, we are going to see permits, restrictions, and basically the ability for them to create a registry for the state of Colorado for a firearm that you're going to purchase.
They don't call it a ban because they're allowing you to buy back your rights, right? You take the safety class, you get the permit, you're allowed to buy them. There's, the double speak in the political world is that it's not a ban. Creates a list, creates firearms that have a negative connotation, I guess you could say.
That are in common use in the United States, let alone the state of Colorado.
Yeah, we're living in interesting times right now.
Yep.
I would honestly say we have a different outlook from the feds currently, and our state is going the complete opposite way.
Yep.
I think this is going to harm Governor Polis's political future 100%, because now he signed his name on it.
Yep.
Right? So the bill was terrible. Everybody said it was terrible.
30 plus amendments from its original creation.
I think 60 was the end up.
Yeah.
And it ended up being. So now he has signed it. He's not a leader.
No.
He's just going along the party lines, which is what this bill has done the whole time.
And I'd argue with you on that. I don't even think he went on party lines. He had testimony after testimony that literally was everybody, every spectrum you could possibly imagine. So he wasn't even going on lefts or right. He literally went with lobbyists. He took the money and he's running with it. There's no possible way that he looked at this as being a liberal and said, I am voting for the people. I am doing this for the people. I am signing this for the people. Because the testimony that was given over and over and over again was not something that he could have easily said, this is a liberal choice, I'm signing this bill. Yeah. That was a lobbyist choice. He went with the lobbyists on this.
Yeah, and if you dig deeper into it, and I think if anybody's not following what's going on with the political games right now in Colorado, there's people that are being forced to vote a certain way because of the lobbyists, because of the money, right? There are people,
the pressure,
who voted a certain way on, let's say, different stuff that was along these lines, that they voted for 003, which was completely against everything going up to that point. At the end of the day, this is not going to correct the violent crime rate in Denver or any of that stuff. This goes into effect in August of 26.
Yep.
So be aware that if I understand this right, there's still another legislative session between now and then, which means that this thing could get pulled back into the House and Senate, and be bolstered.
Yeah, the potential for them to add more things to it is possible, depending on lobbyist money, motivation, those types of things. The other conversation that we've had is what this does to CPW. They put in there that it takes money from Parks and Outdoor Recreation Cash Fund. And I did a quick search just to find out, like, where do they actually get their money from? So they get it from user fees and licenses, lottery proceeds, the Great Outdoors Colorado Grants Fund, the GOCO, and then federal and other grants. So how is that going to affect how CPW manages wildlife, the parks? I mean, even if you're not a hunter, you're not somebody that utilizes firearms in the least bit, but you like to climb, you like to bike, you like to be in the outdoors, you're a birder, you like to see wildlife. What are the chances that now we have a defunct CPW because all this money keeps getting pulled away from them, and it puts us in a situation where Colorado is not what we moved here for, is not what we grew up in. It's not Colorado. The flyover states, we're just going to be another one.
I mean, already there's lawsuits against the 6.5%. There'll be a lawsuit for this. I'd be curious what the feds do in regards to how they're going to treat Colorado.
Right.
Looking at CPW and their funding, their many avenues of funding, what I would be interested in is where this affects the funding from PNR funds, Pittman Robertson funds. I'd be curious where that all goes.
Yeah.
I'm honestly like, the line item is parks, I believe, is where they're taking the money from.
Yeah.
But again, those are all things that are going to affect you guys, right? Everybody out there, state parks, wildlife officers, all those things, right? That's
just
all
even
money.
Access to overlanding, or just getting on an ATV. Those roads are going to be shut down if there's nobody being able to manage it, either on a state or a federal level, if those funds aren't coming to the state, because we're doing things that are taking funds inappropriately away from how we're supposed to be doing that. So,
and it's a political game. Everybody should realize that. Yeah. That they're going to create something like a license, add it to your registration, or they're going to create something that'll try to fund it in whatever way they can. Let's be honest, it's a sad day. It's a sad day for Colorado. It's a sad day for rifle gun owners, legal gun owners. Common sense says this is the wrong thing for Colorado, but the king will tell us what we can do and when we can do it and how we're going to do it.
Yep. I think one of the important things moving forward is that our voice continues to be heard as Coloradans, as U.S. citizens, as free people. So taking time out of your day to reach out to your friends and family and making sure they understand how the state is trying to restrict you, whether they enjoy a trip to Colorado from out of state, or they enjoy living in the state the way they are, whether they're Front Range, whether they're Northeast, Southwest. Those things are just continually being chipped away. So it's a constant thing. It's not a once a 4 years. It's not every time there's an election. It's something that we need to be present in on a constant basis, having those conversations with our friends, our family, those that are close to us that may or may not realize like how this could potentially affect us.
So let's look at this from a historical standpoint. Colorado is essentially going down the road of no return, removing firearms from peaceable people, legal, law-abiding people, right? Where does that go? Down. Your mind can go a lot of places, right? A lot of bad stuff has happened in that regards, right? It's I'm going to tell you how to live. I'm going to tell you where you can live, what you can watch, what you can't watch, what you can buy, what you can't buy.
Right.
what you can eat, what you can't eat. Those are all things that stem from removal of firearms. Now, does that get a little bit down the rabbit hole? Sure, it does. But look at it from this standpoint. CPW can't stand up the website by the time frame, right? Yeah. Okay. Now you have thousands of people that want to do their safety classes. They want to do all their things to abide by the King's rules, right?
Yep.
Wants to abide. So what are we going to do? We're all going to go down to the sheriff's office. We're going to take our classes. We're going to go. Sorry, this is going to take us 10 months to get you approved.
Right.
There you go. Right delayed is a right denied.
Yep.
I don't know how many times I have to say it, but a right delayed is a right denied. If you applied that to anything else besides firearms, yeah, people would be up in arms, which you should be.
For sure.
Everybody should be. Right? Like, we all should be up in arms over this. And we are, but peacefully.
Right.
Right?
We're still law-abiding citizens.
We're going to follow the law.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Yeah. So what can we do? We can vote. We are going into another election year.
Yep.
Here we are. Guess what? Write the names down who voted yes for this. Vote them out.
Get them out.
Get them out of there. These people, some of them were appointed,
yep,
right? You need to get out. You need to get out and vote. You need to share that with your group of people, your other group of people, and the other group of people. This applies to everybody.
It does.
This isn't Colorado.
No.
This is not Colorado. We can't stand for this stuff. Where are we going?
Yeah.
We are going down a terrible, terrible decline. There are so many other people in other states that are like, I'm not going to Colorado.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hunt out there.
I'm not going to spend my money.
I'm not going to
spend time.
Yeah, like, we can't have that. Yeah. This state survives on vacationers.
Yep.
This state survives on skiing and hunting. Recreation.
Yeah.
We know where you all were during COVID. We all know. Everybody was here.
Yeah.
And when I say here, everybody was at a gun shop.
Yeah.
Everybody. It didn't matter your background. That's why you should be concerned about this. Yeah. You should be concerned. We can't let this stand.
No.
So, just because he signed it doesn't mean it's over.
Yeah.
Lawsuits, voting, education, educating people, getting people to start to get into, I would say, if they're not into firearms, maybe introduce them to, hey, yeah, if you don't know about firearms, let's talk about them. A big thing that I have realized is that there's a lot of people that don't understand this way of life, the free way of life, right? They know, I drive down the street, I pick up my groceries. I drive down the street, I get my gas. I drive down the street, I go to my gym. I go to work, I go home. They don't know that, there's a lot of people that drive back and forth to the gun range. They, go out coyote hunting. They go out elk hunting. They go scouting. They go, for a hike. Yeah. They go to the ranch, right? They take care of their animals. Yeah. These are all people that are now going to be affected by this pseudo ban, is what we're going to call it. We're not really taking it away from you, but if we want to, we will. Yeah. I mean, what disqualifies somebody? What does disqualify somebody?
That's going to be left up to the sheriff.
Interesting.
Could be left up to the instructor.
What if you pass a background check? Federal government says you're good to own a firearm.
Yep. Any firearm at that point.
Yeah. I mean, the black market stuff, I look at it and I go, there's so many people that are looking for loopholes in this thing, but instead of fighting it head on.
Yeah.
How do we fight it head on? You have to vote. You have to. There's plenty of you people out there that have representatives that did not represent you at all. Zero representation happened in the House and in the Senate. What did they do? They literally put their stuff on the line and they said, oh, thank you, Everytown.
Yep.
Appreciate the donation.
Yep. Constituents were not heard throughout the entire process, whether people were testifying, were writing letters, were calling, were leaving voicemails. Granted, there were some that were inappropriate, and those were the ones that got to the top and were publicized.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of people that did reach out, and thank you very much for everybody that did. I mean, we had a lot of, I think, petitions that were signed,
Yes.
that were delivered.
Yep.
Those are things that you were active in. It's needed and will continue to be needed. But from the aspect of watching all of this legislation happening on the Senate and the House, is as rural Coloradans, we are given very little initiative and or very little thought when it comes to us being at the forefront of their decision making. We're the ones that are losing out first.
Huh?
The bad part of that is if we lose, everybody loses, because we will not have the farmland, we will not have the ranches, we will not have the access to Colorado the way everybody uses Colorado. Those things are going to be continue to taken away as well. So we are the first losers in this,
Mm-hmm.
but we won't be the last, and that's the wave that nobody seems to see the tertiary effects of these bills.
No, they don't. They don't see it from the common sense view.
Yeah.
I guess is they don't live this life, though everybody should live this life.
Yeah.
The free life. The like, I want to go down to the gun range and shoot a gun. I want to go out to the mountains and go for a hike. I want to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's the free life.
Yep.
Right? It's not the rat race.
No.
Everybody can do it. But people have a mental barrier.
Yeah.
Big thing I look at is we aren't represented.
No.
Look at the districts.
Yeah.
Look at how the districts are lined up. If you look at the House district, what are we? District 7?
7.
So District 7, do yourself a favor. Pull up a map. It's on Google, wherever. And you pull up House District 7 and look at the lines and the way that they're drawn. The representation for this area is not the representation of the people.
No.
At all. At all. Why do they loop in a certain subsection of a city so they can get more voters for a certain voting way to have somebody represent rural? You just look at it and you go, it's a game.
Yeah.
And they're playing, I mean, honestly, like, let's look at it and just call it what it is. They're playing chess. Right? Everybody else is playing checkers, they're playing chess.
Yeah.
They've created the rules in the field, and they create the goalposts, right? And then when you get close, they move the goalposts,
Yeah.
right? They just move it a little bit further. So that way, hey, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
What do we do forward? What do we do moving forward? As I said before, you have to vote. Can't sit around anymore.
We want fighters.
Yeah.
So those that are going to stay, have the conversations, vote. Make sure you stay as educated as possible on things, whether it's wildlife, whether it's access to the nature that we love and enjoy. Um, those are the things that, as you start to see the ballot initiatives that have already been introduced in the state of Colorado, they're preparing for the demise of CPW. They are willing to almost admit that this money that they're taking will probably destroy CPW, and they're finding a way to take the management away from them.
Look at the Teller County Sheriff in his discussion on how much this is going to cost the rural counties.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Where is that money?
Administrative costs, I mean, they have no funding in order to recoup those. So if you look at the timeline, right? So if it's going to take 9 months, it takes 9 months for this process to happen. You go through the application process, CPW's backed up, you get your class, how much is that going to cost? Unknown. He was even suggesting, based off rough numbers, it could be up to $500 per application every 5 years, plus an additional 6+ months backlog for everything to go through.
I think you look at that $500 and you go, what about the family that can't afford that? So is that a right denied at that point, right? It becomes so fiscally out of reach, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is almost repetitive of freaking the National Firearms Act of 1934.
Yeah.
Right? $200 tax stamp because you want to buy this certain type of firearm, right?
Or a ballot tax that was introduced basically to reduce people from being able to vote.
Yeah. So what now? Just because you don't earn enough money, like, you can't. That's not the United States.
No.
That's not us.
No.
I just look at it and I go, where are we going? Where are we going? This is going to completely remove a certain subsection of, folks that enjoy firearms. So the quote that's on the Statue of Liberty: "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched, refused of your teeming shore." You hear that, and it rings, right? Like, it says freedom.
Yeah.
Like, come on in. But now we're like, again, moving the goalposts for people who are all law-abiding citizens. There's a bigger plan. I truly believe in that in regards to this political mess that we're looking at, especially when you look at it from the whole nation. Colorado's going a certain way, Washington's going a certain way, Oregon's going a certain way, California's going a certain way, right? A lot of people say, I'll just move here, I'll just move there. I think what people don't realize is that all it takes, 500,000 people, and boom, your state swings just like that.
Yeah. The corners of the earth will get smaller and smaller the more you move instead of standing and fighting.
Yeah.
And you said it many times, the law-abiding citizens will continue to be law-abiding until they can't.
Mm-hmm.
And with legislation like this, with other legislation that's out there, they're turning everyone into a criminal, no matter what the process might be, to not become a criminal by going through the process of applying for a permit, paying an additional fee. Like, there's only so many hoops that people are going to continue to go through to not become a criminal for something that was legal 2 months ago, a year ago.
You're going to have to pay the fees every 5 years. Mm-hmm. Every 5 years, you're going to have to pay this fee.
And who's going to say they're not going to change the training or change the requirements or add different guns so that now every 5 years, or hey, let's change it, now these guns are added to it.
Or change this. What if they change the fee structure?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's more.
Yeah.
Think about it that way. Like, oh, it was $500, now it's $1,000.
Give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yeah. Guess who's not going to pay the fees? The people who are criminals anyways.
Yep.
So, what
This-
are we doing?
This only affects those that are law-abiding citizens. It does not affect or have any tertiary effect on those that are already criminals.
Yeah, this is really going to take away the Glock switches down in Aurora.
Right.
This is really going to take away the, the TDA gang members sourcing illegal firearms. This isn't going to do anything to those people. I think you just look at it and you go, come on, how come no common sense plays into this? No common sense says like, hey, wait a second. We've been pretty soft on crime for the last, several years. And we've had, gangs move and high level, I would say high level stuff that, being where I'm from, we saw that stuff,
Yeah.
right? Your cartel members, your, gangs that are distributing significant amount of drugs, the auto theft stuff, right? Like, I think Colorado's like number 3 or something like that, right? So here we go, and what are we solving?
We're fighting it on both sides.
Yeah.
With the legislators that put this into place and the lawsuits.
Mm-hmm. The people who are paid by us to represent us.
Yes. And that's why your vote is important. That's why your voice is important. Conversation, education. You mentioned earlier about how soft on crime the state has been. They introduced a bill to increase the penalties for theft of firearms. This bill has been slow played the entire legislative realm. And at this point, I think they were on the floor today, on the 10th, but they had the last 2 dates get laid over. Why is this something that we look at as a criminal has done something illegally, and there should be a penalty for it? But yet we don't prosecute those that are.
It's not even like, what is it, class 6 felony or class 6 misdemeanor or something like that.
We're gonna penalize you for not securing your firearm inside your vehicle, even though your vehicle is locked.
Civilly,
when the criminal
right
opens it.
They're not gonna penalize you criminally, right? They're gonna penalize you civilly, like with a fine, which lock up your firearms.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, come on. Like, let's all have, just common sense stuff. Like, if you're parked downtown Denver, you probably shouldn't leave a pistol in the
Stay strapped.
in your car left in there. It just doesn't do you any good there.
Yeah.
So you look at this from the standpoint of somebody who, maybe they frequent a certain grocery store. And they say, they go there, they have their kids, and they go inside, they come out, and they notice a suspicious person just like kind of following them around in the store or whatever. And now she leaves, nothing happens. She comes back, same suspicious person's there a week later. Now, once is weird, twice is kind of, I would say this is something to be aware of, right? Awareness wise, paying attention to your surroundings. Mm-hmm. She notices the person again following her in the store, follows her out to the vehicle this time, leaves unharmed. This person decides now at this point in time that they need to apply for their firearm permit / buy back your rights.
Yeah.
So she decides that this certain type of firearm is going to be the best for her or him, whomever. Put whatever it is you want. It doesn't matter, whoever it is. Now they're delayed 9 months. You know who wasn't delayed 9 months? I'll tell you this. felon out on homicide charges on bail. What does he do? He gets his hand on an illegal firearm and has a shootout with Pueblo PD. Soft on crime? Come on. Let's go. Like, this is crazy. We're letting people out on bail because we're trying to be fair. I don't know if anybody saw this, but the guy wasn't exactly the
Model citizen?
model citizen for his charges he had. I look at that and I go, so that's the data point that they're taking to take away our rights of the people who literally just want to protect themselves and maybe have some sports shooting fun and or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what you do with it as long as it's all under the legal.
Yep.
Nobody cares. At the end of the day, like you want it to go sit in your closet and you feel better about it? Cool. You want to take it out every day and go shoot on the range or, go out to your favorite BLM spot or whatever? Have fun. I mean, so where does this put us, right? Like, where does this put us? So it puts us in this weird collision, crash course time frame, right? Why is it weird, right? So we're soft on crime, hard on law-abiding gun owners. So now these people are going to collide with these people, but these people are now disarmed. Where does that put us? Oh, we don't know because the data sets aren't there, right? Everybody's kind of gone down this road. There's like this weird, it's an unexplainable non-stat, right? How many defensive uses has a pistol or a rifle or a shotgun been used in? Nobody knows.
Nobody seems to want to collect that information.
Nobody wants to collect the data. Like you hear it, it's like, oh, maybe it's like 3.5 million. Maybe it's like triple, quadruple what is used in illegal uses, right? Like, why is nobody collecting that data? Is there a reason?
It doesn't help the narrative of being able to disarm the citizens, taking away the rights. And at this moment, soft on crime, hard on those that are law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
There's going to be a clash, some moment in the future that allows us basically not to defend ourselves legally, and we'll have to take up arms any means necessary.
I mean, how about the flight attendant that was in Denver, stabbed to death in downtown Denver on a layover?
Yeah.
What is going on down there? How many people do you talk to down that live in the Front Range that are like, man, it's kind of a war zone down here.
Right.
We don't hear anything about that. Why do we not hear anything about that? It's because it doesn't fit the agenda. Right? These are all illegal uses of firearms. Like the gang members taking over an apartment complex. I literally had to ask people, is this real? Like, is this, because we're not really hearing about this.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out it was real.
Yeah, we're hearing it on a national level and not on a state level.
Yeah.
Doesn't fit the narrative for us to take your guns away, so we're not going to make sure, see this on local news.
I don't know. It just, man, I get so frustrated about this whole thing. And sure, yeah. Am I biased? Absolutely. Absolutely, I'm biased. I'm an American. I'm an American.
Yeah.
I should be able to walk in and buy a firearm if I pass a background check from a federal firearms licensed dealer.
Yep.
The other thing I truly believe is like the cash and carry thing that went away in 2013. I think that should be 100% legal, right? You have a friend. He's your buddy. He's a good person. Hey, here's the firearm. Here's the money. Good day.
Yep.
What are they stopping? They're not stopping illegal purchases. Like, I just look at it and go, this is an interesting road that we're about to drive down. You just have to be the person that stands up for what you believe in. We can't sit back anymore.
No.
We can't. We can't sit back anymore on hunting rights. We can't sit back anymore on gun rights. They are literally attacking every single day that they can.
Yep.
The more ground they can take is what they're going to do.
Yep. I was thinking of this from the aspect of somebody that moves to Colorado to create a homestead, that realizes very quickly that on the homestead, I'm going to have to protect my land. I'm going to have to be able to raise the chickens. I'm going to have to be able to, raise the cattle, the beef, the lambs, and protect them all at the same time. And now there's regulations on how I have to, feed them, raise them, pin them. And now I'm going to be regulated on how I protect them.
I guess we're just trying to reach out to you. We're not telling you have to do anything. Live free. What we're asking you to do,
humbly, of course,
is get involved.
Have the conversation.
Literally, these videos are about getting the word out there.
Yep.
We want to make sure that you're educated on this stuff and to at least spark interest in, hey, maybe I should look this up. Maybe I should pay attention to who the person is that represents me and how they vote.
Yeah.
Those are the things that going forward, people need to be aware of. They need to. They need to know who's representing them, how they're voting, that type of stuff. Given 10 years ago, I couldn't have said anything remotely educated on any of this. And I'm not saying I'm the most educated person on this.
Same.
But what I will say is, over the last several years, I have paid attention more and more. And it is downright scary what your representatives vote for. It's downright scary.
Not listening to the constituents. Voting for the lobbyists' push.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Money's a huge part. Yeah. I think that's very prevalent in rearing its ugly head with, like him or not, President Trump. The Elon Musk USAID thing, right?
Waste.
The waste, the money funnels, the NGOs. Like, you look at all that stuff, you go, geez, is this real?
Yeah.
Like,
we've been asleep at the wheel.
This is America.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're American. Like, so we should just be able to wake up, go to work, do our thing, live freely.
Yeah.
But now everybody else in the background has been just kind of, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Let me go ahead and push that lower the tax on fine cigar bill.
Approved.
Mr. Sullivan. You should be ashamed of yourself.
The reason we're putting these videos together is to bring light to the things that are going to be affecting you. You can see by the binder that I have created, it is not a small amount of things that are on the plate for this year. We're going to constantly be trying to put out this information so that you know who you should be paying attention to in your district, locally, on a state level, so that you understand how this is going to affect you in the long term.
Yeah. The long term, the long game. Where's Colorado in 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, 50 years? I think if you look at it, the pendulum swings.
It does.
The thing that worries me is that the pendulum swings only so far and then it swings back further. We look at that, I look at that and go, that's worrisome. I personally want to say thank you to each and every one of you that's watched the YouTube videos, even the ones that have commented that I look like Cheech and Chong. It's very much appreciated. Although I live an opposite lifestyle of that, I don't want to push my values on you or anybody else in regards to that type of stuff. Live your life, have fun, continue watching.
We appreciate every one of you, and more to come.